Good evening. You're watching the news tonight, your daily roundup of all that has happened across India and the world. I'm Ashan Russell, and these are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Prime Minister Narendra Modi delivers 37th Singapore lecture, says the India-Singapore partnership needs to address challenges of the 21st century. Joint Parliamentary Committee meeting on the Land Bill inconclusive to seek a 3-week extension of deadline to submit report. Non-performing assets at unacceptable levels, says Finance Minister Arun Jaitley after meeting chiefs of PSU banks, claims a recent sector-specific announcement will mitigate the crisis. Tamil Nadu gets 940 crore rupees assistance to combat flood damage. State government pegs damage at 8,500 crore rupees. 169 people killed since the 1st of October. And the lockdown continues in Brussels for the second day. 16 people arrested in a joint police and military operation since Sunday night. Prime suspect of Paris attacks still absconding. Now, top story this evening. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Singapore on Monday in his final stop of the Southeast Asia tour. His two-day visit to the country is expected to strengthen bilateral ties. While he has a busy day planned for Tuesday with an address to the CEOs of Singapore and an address to the Indian diaspora, the Prime Minister delivered the 37th Singapore lecture today. The theme of the PM's lecture was India-Singapore Story. He praised Singapore for achieving the level of development it has and said that there was much that India could learn from it.
Singapore teaches us many things. The size of a nation is no barrier to the scale of its achievements. And the lack of resources is no constraint for inspiration, imagination, and innovation. Singapore has done more than just lift a nation in the highest level of prosperity within a generation. It has inspired the region's progress and led in its integration.
He further said that the India-Singapore partnership had a lot of potential. Modi said that the partnership needs to address the challenges of the 21st century.
As India opened itself, Singapore became India's springboard to the world and gateway to the East. A partnership that addresses the challenges of 21st century, from food and water to clean energy and sustainable habitats.
Earlier, Prime Minister Modi met the Malaysian leadership. Terrorism, which has dominated every multilateral or bilateral summit-level meetings after the deadly Paris attacks, was taken up by both leaders. Modi also congratulated Malaysia on combating extremism by delinking it from religion and highlighting the true values of Islam.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi praised the Malaysian leadership for combating extremism and radicalization by delinking it from religion. He said the recent attacks in different countries are a reminder of the global nature of this threat.
Mr. Prime Minister, you have provided leadership in combating extremism and radicalization, rejected any link between terrorism and religion, and in highlighting the real values of Islam. This is a great contribution to an important aspect of our global efforts against the challenges.
Modi also praised Malaysian competence in infrastructure and sought more investment in India.
I express our desire to see the enhanced Malaysian participation in areas such as expansion and upgradation of infrastructure, Make in India, and Smart Cities projects.
Malaysian Prime Minister Nazir Rajak assured Malaysian help to India in combating militancy and Paris Climate Change Conference.
We will work closely together to defeat violent extremism and terrorism. And in the light of the climate change conference in Paris, we will also work closely together to try to make a deal happen, but a deal which is fair for both the developing world as well as for the advanced economies.
Economic and commercial relations are the cornerstone of the Indo-Malaysian bilateral relationship. Malaysia is the third largest trading partner for India within ASEAN, while India is the largest trading partner for Malaysia from among the countries of the South, excluding China. Trade between India and ASEAN was 76.52 billion in 2014-15.
India will give a special treatment to Malaysia for special projects through government-to-government route. And as far as defense productions are concerned, Malaysia will put capital and India may tie up with the third country for technology to make in India mission fulfill. Akhilesh Suman for Sabha television in Kuala Lumpur of Malaysia.
News from back home now, and the Joint Parliamentary Committee on the Land Acquisition Bill has unanimously decided to ask for more time to submit its report. The JPC would ask Parliament to extend its term by 3 weeks. The committee met on Monday, just 3 days before the winter session of Parliament is to begin. According to sources, members of the Congress and the Trinamool Congress said any meeting of the JPC was useless until the government cleared its stand on the pending land bill in the Rajya Sabha. These members also said that the Prime Minister had announced in his radio program Mann Ki Baat that the government was not pushing this bill anymore. The JPC is examining 14 contentious clauses of the land bill on which there is no consensus yet. The Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today met Chairman and MD of public sector banks and financial institutions. He reviewed steps taken by the government and the central bank to improve their asset quality. Jaitley said that the government has been proactive in taking measures to address problems in stressed sectors.
Calling bad debts of banks a legacy issue, the Finance Minister is confident that banks can win their battle against willful defaulters. According to him, the imminent bankruptcy law will only empower them further. Gross NPAs of public sector banks rose to 6.03% in June 2015. They were 5.2% in March 2015. In August, the government announced 70,000 crore capital infusion in PSBs over 4 years, starting with 25,000 crore this fiscal.
Series of steps which the Reserve Bank has announced, which some of the banks have been implementing, will certainly improve on the quality of those assets. Additionally, the government also has been extremely proactive in responding to each of the sectors.
Jaitley also reviewed credit offtake by sectors like home, education and corporates, the Jan Dhan Yojana and Prime Minister's social security schemes.
The banking system, which is the lifeline of the economy, continues to fund various segments of the economy in order to grow. Now that the growth rates are somewhat picking up, and therefore the pressures of the past need to be removed as far as possible.
The government also has plans to sell shares in state-run companies when the market improves. It could raise about $14.4 billion by reducing stake in state-run banks to 52%. But so far, the government is struggling to meet its asset sale targets to plug its deficit. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi held a Kisan Padyatra today in UP's Saharanpur district. Ahead of the winter session of Parliament, Gandhi met sugarcane farmers of the area who yet to receive their dues to show solidarity with them. Gandhi also took on Prime Minister Modi, alleging that his promised Achhe Din are yet to come for the farmers and labourers. Sugarcane farmers in Saharanpur have suffered in recent times with the closure of sugar mills there.
हिंदुस्तान को प्रगति करनी है तो रोजगार की जरूरत है, किसानों को मदद करने की जरूरत है, मजदूरों को मदद करने की जरूरत है। मैं चाहता हूं कि प्रधानमंत्री वो काम करें, उनके लिए इस काम के लिए उनको इलेक्ट किया गया है। मैं चाहता हूं कि चीफ मिनिस्टर जी ये काम करें, उसके लिए उनको भी इलेक्ट किया।
The Congress Vice President's Padyatra comes just a day after industry body ASSOCHAM claimed that prices of sugar could rise from early next year. This as production targets are expected to fall. ASSOCHAM says this indicates that farmers are shifting to other crops amid rising cane arrears.
The deficient monsoon is almost certain to force a sugar shortage now. Output is expected to dip to 27 million tons in 2015-16, 5% lower than 28.31 million tons produced in 2014-15. Sugarcane production was estimated at 28 million tons in July. Industry body ASSOCHAM estimates that an El Nino impact could adversely affect cane production next year as well. Not only that, given the present aggressive sugar export strategy, the declining production is expected to put pressure on prices from 2016.
Farmers are not getting their due on a regular basis, and therefore the farmers are increasingly switching over to other cash crops rather than the sugarcane. And that will become a worrying factor over a period of time, in another few months' time.
Experts want the government to take into account domestic needs and availability to ensure that current low prices don't go the way pulses and onion have.
Sugar prices do not determine the prices of sugarcane alone. There is molasses, there is press mud, there's bagasse. Bagasse, you have electricity these days, you have paper, molasses, you have liquor.
India is already facing a huge shortage of vegetable oil and pulses. Now, with sugar also joining in, the recurring failure of monsoon is expected to add to the overall inflationary pressure. This is Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, the northeast monsoon has left a trail of destruction in Tamil Nadu, with the state government pegging losses at a whopping 8,481 crore rupees. Prime Minister Modi has ordered immediate release of 940 crore rupees in central assistance to the state. This hours after Chief Minister Jayalalitha urged the Prime Minister to release 2,000 crores to sustain relief work. In a letter to the Prime Minister, she said that the 169 lives that have been lost in rain-related incidents since the 1st of October 2015. She detailed the extent of the damage in her letter, saying that despite the state government's preventive efforts, the people had suffered. Her government has allocated 500 crore rupees for relief work. She has also requested that a central team be deputed immediately to make an on-the-spot assessment of the damage so that central aid could be released without any delays. The Supreme Court will begin daily hearings of pleas challenging the acquittal of Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha in a disproportionate assets case. The day-to-day hearing of the case will start from the 2nd of February 2016. The move comes after Karnataka's ruling Congress government filed a petition against Jayalalitha's acquittal in the 19-year-old case. Jaya was sentenced to 4 years in jail and a fine of 100 crore rupees was imposed on her, but she was released on bail after 21 days. Her acquittal came after she filed a petition challenging her conviction at the Karnataka High Court. Jayalalitha was sworn in as Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu for the 5th time soon after being set free. Union Food Minister Ramvilas Paswan today assured that the government was taking steps to curb the price rise of tomatoes. Paswan said output had not declined and the price of over 60 rupees per kilo was due to disruption in supply from rain-affected South India. On pulses, for which prices are still ruling above 180 rupees per kilogram, Paswan said that the government had taken a slew of measures, including imposing stock limits and action against hoarders and importers. Let's now get you some more news and updates from around the country and nationwide. Delhi Chief Minister and Aam Aadmi Party convener Arvind Kejriwal today claimed his party was not in the race for the 2017 elections in Punjab. He also insisted that his party's aim was to tackle corruption. The party's national executive met today amid protests by some members who claimed that they were not invited. RJD Chief Lalu Prasad's son Tejasvi Yadav took charge as Bihar's PWD Minister in Patna, while Congress MLA Ashok Chaudhary attended office as the new Education Minister in the state. Tejasvi was also appointed Deputy Chief Minister on Friday. He holds 3 portfolios in the new cabinet. 7 people, including a woman pilot, were killed when a helicopter carrying them to Vaishno Devi crashed in Jammu's Katra district. The helicopter returning from Sanchichat belonged to the privately run Himalayan Heli Services that runs services for the Char Dham Yatra. 4 militants were killed in 2 separate encounters in Kupwara and Anantnag districts of Kashmir. A search operation is still in progress in the Siligam village. Meanwhile, security forces killed a militant, while efforts are on to flush out his accomplices from the forest in Kupwara. Union Minister Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti triggered a controversy in Kolkata, claiming state governments are responsible for banning cow slaughter. West Bengal is one of the states that doesn't restrict cow slaughter. Time for us to take a quick break. Lots more on the other side. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now, India is objecting to US Secretary of State John Kerry, terming it as a challenge at the upcoming Paris climate meet. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar said that the remarks are not only unwarranted but far from the truth. In an interview to Rajya Sabha TV, Javadekar told senior journalist M.K. Venu that India always has tried to be part of the solution and has made active efforts to forge a consensus on the global stage to fight climate change.
Ahead of the Paris Climate Conference, India is hotly contesting remarks by the US Secretary of State John Kerry that its government is reluctant to accept a bigger role in addressing global warming. In an interview to Rajya Sabha TV, Prakash Javadekar said that on the contrary, India has not only emerged as a key player on climate change, but has also been globally appreciated for its initiatives.
आज भारत को एक प्रमुख ताकत के रूप में यानी पेरिस समझौता ठीक हो, इसके लिए एक प्रमुख भागीदार के रूप में देखा जाता है, न कि नकारात्मक। अमेरिका के विदेश मंत्री ने अभी बयान दिया कि भारत शायद समस्या हो सकता है, तो ये अनावश्यक था।
Calling the present situation a result of emissions that have taken place over a period of 150 years, the Union Minister says that despite the fact that India is not part of the problem, it is sparing no efforts to be a catalyst in finding a solution.
We are saying that though we are not part of the problem, we want to be part of solution, and therefore we are networking all developing world and even making dialogue with all developed world so that we arrive at an amicable solution in Paris.
The Paris Climate Conference is slated to take place from 30th of November to 11th of December. The meeting will aim to achieve a legally binding and universal agreement on climate with an overall objective of keeping global warming below 2 degrees Celsius. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, some international news. In Brussels continue to remain in lockdown mode on Monday, even after the authorities announced that 21 people had been arrested in a joint police and military operation. The police, however, have been unable to nab the prime suspect of the Paris attack so far.
Soldiers continue to patrol the streets of Brussels on the third day of a security lockdown on Monday and the 10th day of a manhunt for the suspected mastermind of the 13th November Paris attacks. Belgian prosecutors announced on Monday that police detained 21 people in 27 anti-terror raids, but that Paris fugitive Saleh Abdeslam was not among them. Despite the raids, Belgian authorities maintained their highest terror alert in the capital for a third straight day.
Until now, no firearms or explosives were found. Salah Abdeslam is not among the persons arrested during the searches.
19 raids were carried out in Molenbeek and other suburbs of Brussels, and 3 raids were carried out in other cities. The city of 1.2 million will remain on the fourth and highest level of security threat, which essentially means that the threat of an attack was serious and imminent.
L'organe qui analyse la menace, l'OCAM, a confirmé dans le courant de la soirée un niveau 4 sur une échelle de 1 à 4 pour ce qui concerne la région de Bruxelles. Il s'agit donc du plus haut niveau de menace.
Brussels Metro, museums and schools, several shops and cinemas stayed shut in the usually bustling European Union capital, where many staff will work from home.
Là, pour le moment, je ne peux pas trop leur expliquer puisque l'école est fermée, donc il n'y a pas les enfants. Mais je pense que quand on leur explique, il faut trouver des mots à eux. On ne peut pas leur expliquer avec des mots d'adultes, mais des mots d'enfants pour leur expliquer que bon, bah, c'est comme ça.
Je suis totalement inquiet parce que ça fait quand même 20 ans que j'habite à Bruxelles et j'ai jamais eu ça, marcher dans la rue. On m'a arrêté tantôt pour me dire que ça serait bien de ne pas marcher dans la rue maintenant, aujourd'hui, quoi. Donc,
Amidst rising tensions, British Prime Minister David Cameron and French President François Hollande met in Paris on Monday to discuss counter-terror operations and the fight against IS in the wake of the horrific Paris attacks. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Moving on to the US now, where another shocking incident of violence was reported on Sunday. At least 16 people were hospitalized after a shooting broke out in a New Orleans park in the United States.
16 people were injured in a shootout in a New Orleans playground on Monday. The horrific incident unfolded when two groups opened fire on each other, endangering about 600 people watching a music video shoot. Witnesses said at least 2 gunmen shot into the crowd and both groups ran off immediately after the gunfire. The New Orleans mayor urged people to come forward with information about the gunmen.
At the end of the day, It's really hard to police against a bunch of guys that decide to pull out guns and settle their disputes with 300 people in between them. That's just not something that you can tolerate in the city. And, you know, again, at the end of the day, it's going to require the people who were in this park to basically say they had enough and they're not going to put themselves in harm's way and to give us information so that the police can do their job.
There was scheduled to be a video filming or video shoot, however you want to call it, here at the playground. The information was probably circulated through social media, and there were hundreds of people, upwards of 500 people, probably in this playground when this erupted. It was an unpermitted, unplanned thing, so we did not know about it until we learned that these people were in the playground, and our officers were then dispatched to come and remove them from the playground.
US President Barack Obama has expressed concern over such incidents. This is the latest in a series of random shootouts. In fact, a study claims there are more chances of dying in such incidents in the US than any other crime. Almost 90 incidents of gunfire take place every year. That's nearly 1 in 3 of 292 such incidents globally between 1966 and 2012. And in more than half of these cases, the shooter had more than one firearm. The report also suggests the United States has more guns than any other country, which is an estimated 270 million to 310 million firearms in circulation in America for a population of 318.9 million. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The French police today released a photograph of a new suspect in the Paris attacks. French authorities said he was the third suicide bomber at the Stade de France Sports Stadium who entered the Greek island of Leros on the 3rd of October. They also appealed for help in identifying the dead man. One of the 3 suspects the police have so far identified, only one by name. Meanwhile, French police releases 7 people detained during last Wednesday's assault on the flat in which the presumed mastermind, Aboud, and 2 other people were killed. And for all the other international news and global buzz. Nearly 19 bodies have been pulled out so far from a landslide near a jade mine in northern Myanmar. Some 100 people are still missing. Footage taken on Sunday evening shows workers using cranes to search for the victims. A 5.9 magnitude earthquake struck in northern Afghanistan late on Sunday, jolting even New Delhi, North India and Pakistan. There are no reports of any casualties so far. Sunday's tremors come nearly a month after 300 people had perished in a powerful 7.5 magnitude earthquake in Pakistan and northeastern Afghanistan on the 26th of October. The Madhesi protest in Nepal claimed 4 victims when police opened fire on Indian origin residents who were blockading a key highway in Terai. Nepal is already reeling under acute shortage of essential goods over the protests against the country's new constitution. India expressed distress at the loss of lives. Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement got a boost today with about 8 candidates involved in the umbrella movement of 2014 winning office at district-level elections. Some veterans from both sides of the political divide suffered defeat. Tokyo's controversial war shrine, Yasukuni, witnessed an explosion that damaged the ceiling in the wall of a public bathroom south of the shrine. Japanese media reported that no one was injured, though. Time now for all the sporting action in Sports Beat. The Indian men's hockey team has lost 3-match test series against Australia by 2-0. India lost its 3rd game against the visitors 3-2 as the game went into a penalty shootout. India's junior men's hockey team clinched their 8th Junior Asia Cup title, beating Pakistan 6-2. Harmanpreet Singh scored the opener in the 10th minute, followed by 2 more to complete his hat-trick and give India a 3-1 lead at half-time. Later, Manpreet Singh Jr. and Arman Qureshi scored a goal each to complete the rout. Novak Djokovic defeated Roger Federer to claim a record 4th straight ATP World Tour Finals title. The world number 1 continued his superb form to dispatch Federer 6-3, 6-4 in the final. With the win, Djokovic finished the year with 11 titles, including 3 Grand Slams. So that's the news tonight. Good night.